Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Xbox Casuals, the Xbox podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Deerigan. Alongside me, as always, is my game preservation initiative, Josh Finney.
Jesus.
Oh, come on. That was a good one.
It was fine. It was fine.
Yeah, look, man, we've been doing this for how long now? I'm stretching the, there's not much left. Okay, I'm trying here.
Yeah.
How are you, Josh?
I'm good. I'm tired, but I'm good.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm kind of the same. I'm very tired.
It's been a very busy week, and I'm getting sick on top of that. So I plan on laying in bed tomorrow and answering emails and trying to get them out on top.
Nice. Yeah, I have to work tomorrow, and there's a one of the mandatory all hands meetings. So,
Oh, love those.
yeah, so that's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
But, you know what else is fun, Josh?
The NBA
Playing.
playoffs.
Well, sure, if you're not a Cavs fan.
I mean, listen, Corey, we both finished with decent records.
I know.
I will point out that even after throwing the last two games of the season, if the Mavs were in the East, they would have been the second seed, but that's beside the point. I'm only a little bit bitter that it impacted Luka's MVP case.
Yeah. I do living in Cleveland, everybody's like, "Oh, they blew the last game on purpose." And it's like, no,
Have y'all
I don't know.
Listen, y'all sold your souls for the Max Strus game winner back in February, okay?
Yeah.
Y'all did unholy black magic in order for that to happen, and ironically, that's where your season tanks, and that's where ours turns around. So,
yeah. Look, we're the 4th seed. We're playing the Magic.
That's like the most Saturday afternoon at 1 p.m. game I've ever seen. And I say that as someone who actually likes watching both of these teams.
Cleveland at Orlando.
Listen, the Cavs are all over the place. Donovan Mitchell doesn't know if he can actually play basketball right now. Darius Garland can't decide if he's a basketball player or like a peewee player. Evan Mobley has absolutely disappeared.
I mean, Jarrett Allen's really the only consistent player we have right now.
Jarrett Allen's the only consistently healthy player that you have.
God,
and then the Magic, it's like they can't fucking score.
Yeah.
Banchero's trying to do it all out there, and I mean, oh good God, have you seen that man try to take a 3-pointer? It's just like they're gonna have Jonathan Isaac come out for like 15 minutes and bully the shit out of everybody, and then go back to the locker room so he can be ready for the post-game prayer. It's just like, oh my God, one of these teams is making it to the second round, and that's disgusting.
Yes.
It's absolutely gross. It's disgusting. I don't feel good about it. I don't like it.
Well, if it's like the Cavs last year, we're gonna blow it in the first round, like we did against the Knicks last year.
Meanwhile, over in the West, I think the play-in games are more competitive than like any series in the East.
Yeah, the East is not
good.
It's not great.
The fact that the Hawks have a legitimate chance to make it to be the 8th seed is disgusting.
Yeah, everybody's like, "Oh, the East is close. The East is close. It's super competitive." I'm like, no, just because you all have the same.
No, like honestly, records in the East should be better. This is how bad the East is. Like they still can't get good winning records when they have to play the Hawks, Pistons, Wizards, Hornets, and the Bulls like 4 times a year. That's and the Wizards. That's like 25 guaranteed wins right there.
Yep.
Like when people are like, oh, the Celtics were so good. Like, yeah, have you seen who they get to play like 3 or 4 times a year in addition to the bad teams in the West that they get to play at least twice? Like, yeah, I'd be fucking thrilled too. Like the Mavs would be guaranteed a winning record every year if they were in the East with that. But it's okay. It's okay. It's fine. It's cool. It's cool. We only have to play the Clippers for the 3rd time in 5 years.
It's all good. It's all good.
I'm not happy about it.
Mm, it's all good. You know what is good though, Josh? Breaking news as of 49 minutes ago.
What happened 49 minutes ago, Corey?
The Atlas exclusive showcase featuring Metaphor Refantasio
Oh my god, I'm so excited for this.
is happening on April 22nd at 3 p.m. Eastern or 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 Eastern.
I'm very excited for this.
I know. That's why
This
I was
also
telling
says
you.
to me that they're probably only going to have like a short, like maybe like minute and some change long trailer during the Xbox showcase.
Yeah,
So
probably.
it's fuel my fire. I'm hoping that time is taken by Persona 6.
Mm,
I can feel it. I can feel it in my bones, Corey. It's coming.
you can feel it in your bones.
I can feel it in my bones. You know what else has been great?
What's been great, Josh?
The Fallout show.
Yeah, I hear
This is
people
how
like
you
it.
do a fucking video game adaptation.
What, you don't like Halo?
No, I did not enjoy Halo at all. Um, it's funny because like when I read the initial reviews a couple days before the series came out, folks were saying like, "Hey, this is just as good, if not better, than The Last of Us," and I was like, "Okay, there's no way." Like, The Last of Us was HBO, man. Like, this went up for best series at the Emmys. Like, come on, guys. And then I watched it. I was like, "Oh shit!" Like maybe they were right.
Maybe they were.
Um, I've only gotten to see the first couple of episodes so far. I'm hoping to finish the series um, in the next few days. My girlfriend left town the day after the series came out and made me promise to wait for her.
Ooh.
I'm debating if I really want to wait or not
Hmm.
because I really want to watch this and X-Men 97 without her.
Mm.
And she's
Mm.
gone for another like 3 days. So it's really cool though. I really think it captures the feel of that world pretty great. It straddles the line between like the grisly violence and the really dark humor of the games. You can pretty clearly tell that Bethesda consulted on it
Mm.
and helped tell them how to write these characters and how to plot these stories. I think that's really cool. It takes a different approach than the Last of Us was very much more of a one-to-one adaptation. This is obviously a story set inside the pre-existing universe,
Right.
which I think is the way to do it in this instance. Like both approaches are great, but
Mhm.
adapting like Fallout 3 would be really hard to do into a TV series, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
So
I think doing it this way is probably better. But I have also heard people are like mad because like the timelines don't match up or something. I don't know.
they do match up. If folks pay attention, they do match up. Uh,
Uh,
Kotaku actually put out a really good piece about that this morning.
Kotaku wrote a
So
good story.
Kotaku did, in fact, write a good story. Um, I would encourage folks to go read it. It's probably the best piece I've read explaining what's going on with the timeline stuff. Like the problem with the show is the show takes place further in the timeline than anything else ever has.
Mm.
So that's going on, but the discrepancy really comes up around one specific Fallout game, and that's New Vegas.
Hmm.
Um, we know that certain things that the filmmakers wanted to do were vetoed by Todd Howard and Bethesda's story team because it treaded on ideas that they were working through for Fallout 5. So I take that as a good sign. Like, if you're going to have something set that far into the future of your universe, like 15 years post New Vegas, inevitably, like, you're going to create new lore. Like,
Right.
I hate to break that to you. Like, yeah, you were probably never going to get New Vegas too. Like, I need everybody to understand you were probably never going to, and you're probably definitely never going to now.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that you can't get more games set in that region with like the NCR. That's the other like discrepancy, like Shady Shores and things like that. It sounds like a fucking Fortnite destination. Um,
Shady Shores. Yeah.
like it, you can still tell stories set in the New California Republic because that's where games 1 and 2 take place. I believe Tactics takes place there, and then New Vegas obviously is in Vegas. Um, for me, all the discussion around the timelines and around New Vegas and around, Todd Howard's comments about where the story takes place and about, meeting with the story team for the show really to me just confirms that the next Fallout game is probably taking place in California, which I think would be really rad. I think
Yeah.
it would be cool to go back there. Haven't really had anything set there since Fallout 2. Like, so Bethesda's never touched that region. It was just it was the old Interplay team and then Obsidian, obviously. So a little curious to see what they decide to do there. I will say, all this is doing is making everybody excited for a new Fallout game. So they're going to need to get on that sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
It really makes me wonder if the rumors about In Exile or Obsidian working on a new title were true. And like, oh, maybe it's not like a true Fallout 5, but it's something to like tide everybody over until 5 is ready. Like, I've seen at least 5 or 6 different people on my timeline be like, yep, I'm reinstalling Fallout 4. Like, I'm going to play through Fallout 4 again. Oh, I'm going to play through Fallout 3 again. Oh, I'm going to give 76 another go. Like, and that's exactly what these shows are like meant to do in a way, right? Like, not just tell stories and bring new fans in, but to get the fans that are already there to be like, maybe I should go back to this world. I really miss this world. It's got me wanting to play 4 again, and I 100%ed it.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people going back into Fallout. All of them actually this week. So
yeah, 76 is posting great numbers. It's like free on everything right now.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and of course, you know, if you have Game Pass or Prime Gaming, there's a free Vault 33 bundle that you get of cosmetics and equipment inspired by the pilot episode.
yep,
So really cool. The cast is great. Walton Goggins, of course, he steals the show in absolutely everything that he's ever been in. Um, just fantastic, absolutely fantastic. He's that dude's going to be up for an Emmy for this,
you
which
think?
is crazy because the other video game role that went up for an Emmy was Pedro Pascal in The Last of Us.
Yeah,
So it's kind of wild that, you know, we're gonna have a complete tonal shift, and Walton Goggins as the ghoul
yeah.
is going to be up there. So that's awesome. It makes me really excited for the other shows that Microsoft has in production now, because it's like, oh, okay, well, you know, if that much care was taken with this, hopefully they've chosen good creative teams on these other shows that they're supposedly working on.
So what are the other shows they're working on? I know
Gears of
Gears is
War with
supposed to be
Netflix.
somewhere. Yeah.
Netflix is doing Gears of War, and Paramount is doing Grounded,
Mm, okay.
which I actually think that could be really cool. Like, if you got the team working on like Sonic the Hedgehog to do that,
Hmm.
that could actually be really fun. I think, like, almost like a
Yeah.
Saturday morning style show.
Yeah.
We've talked about it before. Like, we both have a fondness for Honey I Shrunk the Kids,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
like this is basically that, but for a new generation.
Yeah. I was gonna say you could have some real fun with that. For
And then on
sure.
top of that, the live action Minecraft movie wrapped filming this week.
Oh yeah, because Jack Black's in that too.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that particular project, but um, I did appreciate Todd Howard's answer when he was asked at the premiere of Fallout, are you guys ever going to do Elder Scrolls as a show? And he was like, no, absolutely not. Like, absolutely not. I think if you hadn't had like The Witcher and seen the pitfalls that that show encountered, like maybe it would have happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's really hard to look at medieval fantasy after Witcher, after Game of Thrones, after, you know, some of these other shows that have been done over the last few years, and be like, yeah, we can bring something new and unique to the table.
Yeah.
And that's not me saying like, oh, you could never do that with Elder Scrolls. Elder Scrolls, I think, would run into the problem more than Fallout of folks want a one-to-one adaptation.
Yeah.
And if you're going to do one in Elder Scrolls, for me, the story that you do is Oblivion.
Yeah.
But I don't want an adaptation of Oblivion. I don't want like Skyrim is a fun world to run around in. The main quest is kind of like, okay. Like I don't want that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Um, we actually have a question about this. I kind of want to just address it right off the bat since we're
Yeah.
talking shows. Jiggly Panda wrote in, said, with the success of the Fallout show, do you think any other Bethesda games or Xbox games will get turned into a series?
Mm. I
Um,
you know what I would
Go
like
ahead.
to see? I actually Bethesda related. I would love to see a Wolfenstein show.
So that was going to be my answer. There was a fan casting going around of what if Alan Richardson from
Yeah, it would be
Reacher,
BJ.
yeah,
Yeah.
what if he was BJ Blazkowicz? And I was like, oh my god,
Dude, he'd be the perfect BJ.
I would love that. You know, the other one I would love Dishonored.
Yeah, Dishonored would be cool. I feel like somebody would try too hard though and put one of them like I don't know. Remember all those mid 2000 shows that had like the filters on them, like The Matrix and Underworld, and even those early Resident Evil movies that had like the blue filter on them.
Yeah, I feel like Dishonored could work with like the steampunk aesthetic.
Hmm.
Um, and I mean, like, who I would love cast as Corvo would be Nikolai Coster Waldo, who played Jaime Lannister on Game of Thrones. He'd be phenomenal as Corvo, I think. But yeah, I would. Those are the two properties that I think that would do good. Doom would be cool as like an anime. I don't ever want to see a live action Doom. They
We already
tried
got
that once before.
Yeah, we already got it. It's top tier television, Josh.
Unless you're gonna make another, if you make live action Doom again, I need Carl Urban put back in it, and with like no reference to the previous like happenings.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
it would be just like Doom 2016. You just wake
yeah,
up as the Doom Slayer, but it's the same character, but kind of not really, sort of, maybe.
I think that could be really funny. Those are the two main Bethesda properties, though. I think definitely Wolfenstein and Dishonored. When we
Yeah.
talk about Xbox properties, I just got done saying about like medieval fantasy. Man, I would really love a Fable miniseries covering the original game.
Yeah, I would love Fable in like a weird, like almost Monty Python esque kind of like.
I mean, that's what the new one. That's the tone of the teaser for the teasers for the new one.
I know, but like when I saw this question,
I need
when
Richard Ayoade as the narrator for it.
yeah,
After what we got in the teaser trailer,
we'll just put him in it and have him be the narrator, but he also follows the protagonist around the entire
that
time.
that could be kind of funny.
Yeah,
Um, it's funny because like other series that I feel like would be prime, either they've already greenlit them, Gears of War, Grounded, or they've been bad, Halo. I don't really. I mean, I would have loved for Quantum Break, but they did the show alongside of it, and Microsoft no longer owns Alan Wake. Alan Wake would be my choice here, but they no longer
yeah,
own Alan Wake.
yeah.
Um,
Quantum Break, they own Quantum Break, still sort of.
they do. I have a feeling that's going to revert pretty soon. Um,
Yeah, I
or
feel
hey,
like.
maybe they just keep working with Microsoft's new desire to put things on other platforms. Maybe Epic is like, hey, we need a publisher.
Mhm.
Maybe you get like a 2 game publishing deal with them or something. They've already said they're looking for new publishers for like Control and whatnot. So
Yeah.
um,
You know, it would be really cool. I don't think they own this IP, but they own the publishing rights to it. Would be like a Lost Odyssey, like epic adventure
I think Lost
miniseries or
Odyssey could be
something.
cool. I was gonna say Blue Dragon, and then I remembered in the back of my mind there is a Blue Dragon anime,
Yeah. Yeah. Man.
which is just so strange to think about.
Yeah. You know what? You know what would get greenlit out of all these though would be Crackdown. Would be the one that would get greenlit. You
Oh my
they
god, get out of here! I
No,
hate you.
I'm not saying I want it. I'm saying out of all all their properties, the one that
Low key, I would watch a 6 episode Pentiment miniseries.
yeah.
I like a good murder mystery, and setting one in 15th century Bavaria. Yeah, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
That is the definition of this is a really niche property, but like it like didn't sell incredible as a game, but it would actually probably do like really really good as a miniseries.
Mhm.
So um, my
Yeah.
aunt, who is a huge history buff, heard about that game and she's like, "How can I play it?" I was like, "Do you have an Xbox?" She's like, "Do I look like I own an Xbox?" So she's been wanting to get a Nintendo Switch to play Animal Crossing. So I was like, "Well,
Mhm.
you can buy it on the Nintendo Switch now. You can
Yeah.
also get Grounded."
Yeah. Yeah. Get a
So
Switch Lite in those 2 games, you're set.
pretty
Good to go.
much, yeah. So those would be my answers. Anything else I want is just like
Mm.
other gaming properties.
You know what we need is Blinks the Time Sweeper.
You know, if you were saying this 20 years ago, it actually would have fit in like perfectly on Fox Kids.
I know.
because we had Fox Kids, like low key was like a really goated lineup.
Hmm.
You had all in a row. You had Digimon, you had Sonic X, and you had the Kirby show.
Oh
And for a
God,
little while, we had an F-Zero cartoon.
right back at you, Kirby. The Kirby right back at you
Hey, that
show.
was a really catchy theme song.
Right back at you.
So was the Sonic X theme song.
Yeah. Oh man.
I feel like that was the last time Sonic was good, like
Mhm.
consistently. You had
Mhm.
all the Sonic Advance games. You had Adventure 2. You had Sonic Heroes, also another really catchy theme song.
Yeah. Then you had Sonic '06, and it just ruined everything.
It just kind of went downhill from there.
Mm. Yeah, that's when the Sonic furry infatuation really took off, Josh.
Jesus. Corey, have you been playing anything fun?
Well, I've been playing a lot of Destiny, actually.
I think we all have.
Yeah, I got.
What a great update.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying the onslaught stuff, and
Yeah.
no, I'm getting safe rolls. I'm not getting like spicy rolls, but I'm getting safe rolls on some weapons.
I almost cleared it on Legend the other day. We fell at like level 45.
Oh man,
I was very upset. Dude, it gets so wild.
man, I have yet to try the 50 like the 50 round one, but we've just been kind of going through and doing the
You
10
have to
round.
you have to be able to set aside a full hour if you want to do a full
Oh, I
run.
know. I know. That's the
It
problem
uh
is
it's rare that even I can like set aside that kind of time, but it's been a lot of fun. I don't actually mind running the 10 wave one if I'm just trying to focus one specific weapon. It's like, oh, I
mhm,
can get through those waves in like 8 minutes.
yeah.
Um I've
Yeah.
gotten pretty good rolls on everything that was available for this week that I care about, which
Yeah.
was my goal because
Mhm.
now I can just focus specifically on the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. Let's
So
see.
we got Old Mountaintop this week,
Old Mountaintop.
and then I believe the week after we get Hammerhead, and the last week we get Blast Furnace. So three
Ooh.
of my favorite weapons coming back over the next 3 weeks. Be grinding hard for those.
Yeah. Just trying to get some decent rolls on some of these things, I got
Yeah, and I
recluse
mean, if
with
you're just trying to get decent rolls, like that's actually they made it so easy to attune.
yeah. I mean, I
Uh,
got
just
I got a recluse with subsistence and frenzy.
yeah,
Um, that's a pretty safe roll.
like that, and like if you just plan on doing like PVE stuff, like that's probably the
Yeah.
role that you want, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, the problem is once I find the role that I like, then I want a shiny of it.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Is like
That's the
shiny.
kicker, and it's like God
Yeah.
damn it. Like, I think Dado actually had a really great response to this where people were complaining about the drop rates of him. And he's like, I actually think it's kind of fine. Like, if you're running Legend, you should be like guaranteed more of those drops.
Mhm.
But he says, like, for the rest of everybody who's complaining that like they're not easy enough to get in the 10 wave version, he's like, this was never a chase for the normies.
Right.
This is something that's there for like the hardcore crowd, the end game crowd. We have a lot of people in our community who are going bonkers over this. Like, I mean, I myself, I'm going crazy. I was very fortunate to get a couple god rolls my first day or two, a couple god roll shinies. So it's like, oh, great! I don't ever have to focus these weapons again because I got them to drop with double perks.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And like the guaranteed ones that they give you, the curated rolls from our sites quests aren't bad. Just like they might not be the most meta thing in the world, but they're still going to be a solid roll no matter what.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So I got the one shiny I have right now is Elsie's rifle with rewind rounds and adrenaline junkie that I'm planning on pairing with my armamentarium build. So that seems fun.
Elsie's rifle is great. It's good in both PvE and PvP. I'm really enjoying it. Like I said, I like Recluse. I don't like it so much in PvP right now, but I was
Yeah.
running that when I've cleared level 50 2 or 3 times now. That's been the secondary that I've been using.
Hmm.
Um, just like proc the volatile and watch it go burr.
Yeah.
Um, what else was I gonna say? Yeah, it's like falling. You can get. I got the exact same roll I already had on my falling guillotine, which like I like that roll. And
Mhm.
I happen to get it as a shiny, so it's like, oh great. Like I think that's actually the curated roll that you get is the one with relentless strikes and whirlwind blade.
Yeah,
There was one other one. Edge Transit actually is like kind of decent. I have yet to get a good roll on it, but it is really fun.
yeah. I heard it was.
Um, I'm enjoying it.
I heard it is no longer a meme, which is
It is. It is not a meme. They specifically changed the stuff with the heavy grenade launchers to make sure that that gets to have its time to shine, so to speak.
mm, yes, time to shine. Uh, but Destiny is kind of all I've really been playing. I've been playing Final Fantasy VII also, but um, man, playing old games is really hard, man. I gotta tell you. Oh,
Yeah, oh my god, there are several things that I need to sit down and like actually play from earlier this year that I
yeah,
haven't had a chance to. Prince of Persia is at the top of my list.
yeah. That's
I
funny.
it's
I
funny.
was
I
just looking
wasn't
at that
planning
game.
on liking Into the Light as much as I did because I was planning like, oh yeah, I'm gonna take like a week or two to play Prince of Persia. That's being pushed to like the beginning of May now,
Yeah.
and like
Oh,
hopefully I have time then because let me tell you something. Hellblade 2 is coming up real fast, Corey.
yeah, but Hellblade 2 is gonna be short, right?
Yeah, but we got 5 weeks. That's something I don't want to rush through that game. I want to like savor it.
Yeah, that's fair.
And it's if it's anything like the first one I had to play in chunks.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um,
I think I played it in like 3 or 4 sittings because
yeah, I'll probably spend 3 or 4. So
that game is so intense, man, that you can't play it longer than that. Like it just it'll fuck you.
it's too mentally taxing.
Yeah,
It's too heavy. I got Unicorn Overlord coming. I picked that for $30.
nice. As the
I got
for
that
the
one on the
Walmart
way. We'll see if
was
I
that the
manage to
Walmart
get
sale?
to it before summer. Yep, it was the Walmart thing. I did in-store pickup. Oh, did I lose you?
No, I my it pooped for a minute, but it's fine.
Okay.
Keep going.
Yeah, no, I got it for the there was $30 Walmart deal on it. I've got store pickup going on it for tomorrow.
Nice.
Um
They
we'll
had near Automata for $10 for Switch.
hmm,
That's
isn't it on
I
Game
would
Pass?
no, it's not.
Oh, I
I mean,
thought it was.
I
It
own it
was
on
for a
Xbox.
while.
I own it on Xbox, but I mean, having a Switch physical copy might be nice at some point, but that's just me.
Yeah, that's definitely a you thing. That's definitely not a me thing. I avoid playing my Switch if I can, honestly.
That that's fair, but you know, Josh. I-
If I can play the game literally anywhere else, it's going to be played literally like outside of like Sonic Superstars, it's going to be played literally anywhere else.
I mean, that's fair.
So
That's look, if I wasn't, you know, co-hosting a Nintendo podcast every week, I would probably be doing the same thing, but the people need to
it was
know.
very funny. Shout out to our friend Andre, who
Yeah.
played through the entirety of Persona 5 Royale on his Switch in handheld mode. And I was like, oh boy, weren't your hands tired by the end? And he's like, well, I liked it because I could take it between my desk and the couch. And he's like, so like I could sit at my desk and play on my monitor, but he's like, I could take it out and like do the in between dungeon stuff, like on the
Hmm.
couch while I was watching TV with my wife or something.
Hmm.
And I was like, okay, I understand. I guess I get that. I was just like, because in my mind, I was like, dude, please tell me you have somewhere else to play this. And he's like, well, it's either that or I have to get it on Steam. I was like, get it on Steam. Just do it. Just do it. Get it on Steam. I can't imagine. I cannot imagine getting into the fight scenes on that game and it like just chugging along.
Yeah.
Then I
Well,
remember that originally Persona 5 was made for like the PS3 and PS4, so
yeah.
should be able to run pretty decent. I've never heard anybody complain about the performance of it on Switch. I'm just like, man, I played that in a recliner
Yeah.
for the 100 something hours that it took me, and
Yeah.
it was great. I would never sit at my desk and play this game ever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, t he's a parent. I get it.
Oh,
I just
I totally get it. That's why like I think the Steam Deck is such a great creation.
I know. God, I've been like, man, dude. Once this, if this Xbox handheld ever comes out, you're gonna lose me. Everybody's gonna
Yeah,
lose me.
that's gonna be my excuse right there.
Yeah. Show's ending. Goodbye, everybody.
Shows that we got new hardware. Show's over.
Instead of talking about it, we're just gonna end the show.
Right. Speaking of like Xbox initiatives, though, what's this I hear about game preservation?
Yeah, let's get into some of this new stuff. So Windows Central is reporting that an internal email went out to Xbox employees that are building a team for game preservation at Xbox, and this was sent out by Sarah Bond. And I don't know. There's been a lot of things floating around about this, Josh. Maybe some Activision Blizzard games coming. Maybe some games they might pay for the license for to get on Game Pass. There's been a lot of these things floating around, but I think Xbox has done a good job of doing this in general, right? Um,
Yeah.
with their backwards compatibility program, their forwards compatibility stuff with Xbox One. Um, I don't know, man. I think Xbox has done the best at this. When you could argue that they are the company with the least initiative to do that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what are your thoughts, Josh?
Um. Man. So I do think that this is probably directly related to the Activision Blizzard catalog,
Mhm.
because they've done a really good job at keeping the Bethesda catalog like up to date. I mean, they got everything. I think it's a little bit easier when you have a lot less games, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And they've done it with their past studios. Like, oh, anything that they've made that like wasn't published by like, say, like Ninja Theory had Heavenly Sword published by Sony, and like Devil May
Mhm.
Cry was published by Capcom. Obviously, they don't have the rights to those games, but anything else like that they did like independently or through a
Right.
third party, like they have access to those.
Yeah, and I mean, even stuff from Ninja Theory, like even Devil May Cry has a definitive edition on Xbox One too.
Right.
So I mean, like,
And we know at this point, like if it was on Xbox One, it's forwards compatible.
yeah,
Like that's their goal is that everything from
mhm,
Xbox One forward carries on.
yeah. And I wonder, like, and my thing, I keep going back to like, I know the 360 library is really important to Xbox players, but
Hmm.
this is why I still think there's going to be a Fable collection and a Gears collection. Not because they need one, because they really don't. But those games don't exist on PC. And if you want those games to get on PC, right? I just think they're going to do the work to get the most their most interesting games, or games that aren't called Forza, up to date to put on PC Game Pass to try to make a more unified library
So
for
I
Game
like
Pass.
that you say that because I kind of feel like that's coming. I think that you're going to get. I know they swore that they were done with backwards compatibility and like what we've got is what we've got because of licensing. But now with the Activision backlog, like
Hmm.
when one of your most iconic franchises is Tony Hawk,
Hmm.
you're going to have to pay those license rights.
Hmm.
And I mean, like realistically, like yes, the license rights for the music and for um some of the skaters is probably going to be fairly expensive,
Hmm.
but I would do it just based on the PR and the goodwill you're going to get.
Oh my
Like,
gosh, dude! If we got Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2X from the original Xbox, oh man, that'd be awesome.
yeah, and I mean, like, I think you can be like kind of picky and choosy and be like, okay, we're going to do like the main series up through like American Wasteland.
Hmm.
Because like I think folks forget that the 360 came out a full year earlier than the PS3. There are several unique versions of those cross-gen games that only existed on the 360, and Activision produced two of those. They
Hmm.
had the best version of American Wasteland and they had the best version of Gun. I don't know if you remember Gun.
Oh yeah.
It was Red Dead before Red Dead. It
Hmm.
came between Red Dead Revolver and Red Dead Redemption,
Hmm.
and it was like, oh shit, this is actually really cool. This was like what you imagined that like a future Red Dead Revolver could be. And then, of course, Redemption and Redemption 2 come out, two of the greatest games of all time. gun has largely been forgotten. Like I think back to games like that. Like everybody else is like, oh, Spyro, Crash. Like you could get Twin Sanity could come. You know, Crash Twin
Yeah.
Sanity could come.
I
That
mean,
game
my
also largely lost the time.
yeah, I mean, my mind automatically went to like the Transformers games and Marvel Ultimate
Which
Alliance.
Hasbro has said they want to work out a deal on those.
I know because Fall and War for Cybertron are incredible video games.
Mm-hmm.
They're incredible video
And
games.
I mean, if you're gonna own that entire backlog, like you have a responsibility to make sure those games exist in the future.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
And so I think that's I think that's part of it is trying to get the Activision Blizzard catalog all aligned like that. I actually think the other one is going to be making sure that as many original Xbox and Xbox 360 games get listed on Steam or on the Microsoft Store as possible.
Hmm.
Like specifically and I'm going to say specifically, it's going to be the Microsoft games.
Yeah.
The third party stuff you really can't do anything about,
Mhm.
but like they exist out there somewhere on PC.
Yeah.
But the actual Microsoft made games that never came to PC, like you said, Gears, Fable. I think the things like Blue Dragon, Lost Odyssey, you know,
Oh man,
these games that like when they got announced for backwards compatibility, people went nuts because it was
dude,
like, oh, some of us were too young to play these games.
dude, Lost Odyssey is the best Final Fantasy game you've never played. I'm telling you, it is. It is incredible. Lost Odyssey is incredible. To get that,
I
to
mean,
get that
Blue
PC,
Dragon should have been a phenomenal franchise. I'm just gonna say it.
yeah. I mean, you could get those games on PC, and like, even like maybe even those are games you put on other platforms just to get those games
Mhm.
out there for people to play because those I mean Blue Dragon was good, right? But like Mistwalker really hit their stride with Lost Odyssey and then like later the last story on Wii, but like
Yeah.
Lost Odyssey is incredible. And they maybe we'll get a sequel now because they left it wide open for a sequel. Never got it. Man, that makes me sad.
Yeah, I mean, I think that when you look at a lot of the games that they could bring over that they have never brought to PC, I start looking at some of these games that I hope they get the rights straightened out for at some point.
Mhm.
Mech Assault. I
Oh
would love
yeah.
to see Mech Assault come over.
Yeah.
Um, that's actually probably my biggest wish from the original Xbox. I've got games that don't work. Um,
Brute force.
on the current platforms. I would love that. I low key would like Brute Force just because like it represents a time when like Xbox put out shovelware.
Yeah. Azaric.
Brute Force was fine. It wasn't incredible, but it was fine. The old Amped games, I would love to see those.
Oh man, Amped, man. Amped was awesome.
Crimson Skies.
Yeah.
Where's my Crimson Skies sequel, guys?
Yeah.
Put the flight sim team on this. That's one that I'm shocked has never come to PC over the years.
What? Crimson Skies? I'm surprised they didn't try to put it into Flight Simulator at some point.
I still, part of me still hopes and wishes that Project Maverick from People Can Fly is like related to this.
Hmm.
I know it's not, but I'm hoping.
It could be.
Do you remember
You're just tying
when
Maverick
Microsoft
with
published
them.
Counter Strike?
Yeah. Didn't they publish a couple Valve games on the original Xbox or like help get it over there?
They did. They did, as a matter of fact. I mean, God, dude, you look at the original Xbox and like they were really cooking by the end of that generation.
Yeah, man. Original Xbox. So
Kingdom Under Fire is one that I'd like to see.
oh yeah.
I don't know about the rights of that because I know in the EU, Deep Silver published that.
Hmm.
Um, maybe bring that over, but it's really when you get to the 360 games that you're like, okay, we got to see what we can do. Like, Conquer is one that like that's I
Well,
guarantee that's going to come to PC at some point.
it's funny you say 360 games because you know what studio they own that a game just recently showed up randomly after 5 years of being delisted. It's Alpha Protocol, developed by
I did
Obsidian.
not know that actually,
Yep, Alpha Protocol showed up on good old games.
and that's
Sega
Alpha
published
Protocol.
that.
That's Obsidian, right?
Yeah, Obsidian developed it.
Yeah.
Sega published it. So
Interesting. So they may have gotten those rights back. The rights may have just reverted after X amount of years of doing nothing with the IP.
yeah, Oh man, that'd be so good.
There's a lot of stuff that you can bring over from the three set. God, I'm looking at this. Like, even if you just like ported the rare games over, like even rare replay, like that would be, when we said for years, like rare replay, it's a matter of when, not if, it comes to the Switch.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those games are already on NSO though.
Uh, I know, but I'm talking more specifically like the actual like Xbox games that are part of
Yeah, I
the
know, man.
collection.
I would give anything for
I
the
could see
Xbox
them
version of
wanting to be
Banjo.
like, "Oh, our triumphant return to Nintendo is putting Sea of Thieves on Switch 2, and then next year, like, oh, rare replay, look at it, it's here, it's $20.
Yeah, man, I
You
would.
can get everything on here. The games that were supposed to be GameCube games originally before they got sold.
Right, man. Cameo finally hitting a Nintendo console.
Perfect Dark Zero finally hitting a Nintendo console.
Oh man,
Viva Pinata.
man, dude, Viva Pinata. I am shocked they haven't tried to do an Animal Crossing esque
I can't.
thing.
So I've said this before. I think I've said it on this show. I've definitely said it on Boss Rush before. That is like my dream project to hand to Mojang and say, go nuts.
Yeah,
Like, you look at what they did with Minecraft. Now imagine them in control of Viva Pinata.
I can't believe they haven't done something
I
like that.
can't. I can't believe it. Another one they own the rights to is Shadowrun. That's another franchise I believe they still own the rights to.
Ooh, that would be interesting.
And they've tried to resurrect that over the years. That was the original, like, hey, we're gonna put this game out and it's gonna be only a multiplayer game, and everyone was like, what the fuck, and ignored it.
Yeah, aren't those original games on Game Pass?
The original games at one point were, I don't know if they still are, but the original trilogy was on Game Pass at some point.
Well, let's find
I
out.
truly can't remember.
I'm
I don't know. I mean, I'm just looking through here, going like, oh my god, like there are so many games that if they really wanted to, they could just start bringing them over. But it
yeah,
also reminds you like how much they worked with outside studios during all those years,
yeah,
and you're like, oh my lord, like there's a lot of games here,
yeah,
and some IPs that it's probably good that they've been lost to time. They published a lot of indies during that too through arcade,
yeah. I mean,
so you have
we
to
got.
kind of sort through that.
I mean, we got Braid and Bastion and Limbo from that all that.
Geometry Wars,
Oh,
that was the OG.
Geometry Wars, man.
Of a day. So I think they technically own Geometry Wars again now.
They do. I looked it
That
up. They do.
you want to talk about something that you could make and put out as like a $10 game that would get you so much goodwill.
Hmm.
Geometry Wars 4.
Yeah, they all three Shadowrun games are on Game Pass. By the way,
Just walk out on the stage at Summer Showcase and to say nothing else and just have a Geometry Wars video start playing.
right? Shadowrun
I like I would lose my shit.
Shadowrun games are on Game Pass. By the way, Shadowrun Returns, Shadowrun
Okay.
Dragonfall, and Shadowrun Hong Kong are all on Game Pass.
Okay.
So, in case anybody,
God, even like the early days of the Xbox One, there's just like games that are destined to be lost to like the annals of time, I
yeah,
feel.
yeah.
You remember D4?
Do I, man? Yeah,
I actually low key love that, and I hate that they never. That was supposed to be an episodic game, and we never got any more episodes because the first one sold so badly.
yeah,
That is my favorite thing that they did in the early years. I believe that was from wasn't that from Swery?
yeah,
I want to say that he was one of the ones behind it.
yeah. Yep.
Just God, such a weird game, but it
Yeah,
was cool. I actually really love that game. That was one of those like they were clearly trying to like get an edge in with Japanese audiences, and then like Xbox One completely collapsed in Japan, and American audiences were like, "What? This is way too Japanese for me. Like I can't do this.
this is way too Japanese for me.
It's way too Japanese. I can't do it." It
Uh,
was cool. It was like great Connect interface. God, there's so many cool things that are just like going to be lost to time, and it makes me mad.
I mean, Connect games in general are just lost now because just Connect.
Yeah, I have opinions on Connect games, and like if we're gonna sacrifice something, it's the Connect games. I'm sorry.
No, I'm not. I'm not. Sitting over here rah-rahing. Let's bring Connect games over. But I'm just saying those games are all.
It's wild that we're gonna lose a Star Wars game like that. Star Wars Connect.
Yeah. Just get that Just
Jesus.
Dance. Get Ubisoft on it.
Get Ubisoft on it.
You can subscribe to Just Dance Forever or whatever their subscription service is called.
What was the other? What was the one that Harmonix made? Dance Central.
Yeah, Dance Central, man. There's 4 of those
Um,
games.
call Epic up and be like, hey, we need a favor.
Yeah, put that in Fortnite.
Put that shit in Fortnite.
It, look, man, at the rate Fortnite's going, it would not shock me if something like that happened. I'm just gonna throw that out there. So, man, yeah, but I'm happy with Xbox's really trying to do right by this. It's they've been doing a great job. I'm looking forward to seeing what's coming.
For
You
sure,
could
for sure.
you'll also get the first Wolfenstein game in this reboot, Josh, because the Activision Wolfenstein game is technically the first game in this reboot.
That's true. That's true. So I'm curious to know, like, so there's been a lot of rumors going around about this summer showcase.
Yeah.
And Tom Warren came out and said basically things you can be guaranteed to expect are, Flight Sim, Towerborn, Indiana Jones,
Mm-hmm.
Avowed, Aura, like et cetera, et cetera. And then said that Call of Duty is going to get revealed before that, so that they can show the campaign off during it. Because like there was a 0% chance Microsoft was not going to show that on their main stage. Like I'd be floored if it wasn't the opener at this point.
Right.
Like I really truly think they're gonna open with like they're either gonna open or it's gonna be like one of the first 3 or 4 things that they show
I
is gonna be Call of Duty.
that feels like an opener, right? Well, because I mean, like, it's Call of Duty.
Well, I don't know if they'll open with it because I mean they're gonna want it towards the beginning of the program to like assert that they have that now.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like if you open with that, then people are gonna be like, oh god,
Yep.
here we go.
You know
We're
where I see
back to
it?
the days of Call of Duty.
You know where I see it actually landing is like, you know how they did like 3 trailers before Sarah Bond got on stage and started talking, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
bet it's the first trailer they show after her or Phil speaks.
I could see that like Phil or Sarah's going to be want to go out there and like tout the acquisition, probably announce that they're bringing a whole slew of those games to Game Pass today, and like here's a peek at what our studios at Activision Blizzard are working on, and like show COD, Diablo, and like WoW all back to back.
Mm-hmm.
Which what a fucking lineup! You get to just walk out there and for like 6 or 7 minutes straight, it's just like 3 powerhouse franchises.
Yeah. And then you go into stuff like Clockwork Revolution and South of Midnight gameplay and
Yeah, then we get into like real games. But I mean, it's a Black Ops game. It's developed by Treyarch. They're gonna want it to have a pretty prominent place. The thing that got me most excited about this stuff from Tom, though, and I know it got you excited, was him saying Gears is gonna be there.
yeah. Yeah.
So funny enough, I actually could kind of see Gears 6 being the opener.
It's either going to be the
Just to be
opener or the
like,
closer. Well,
I
here's
don't
the
think it'll be
thing.
the closer. They've closed with Gears too many
Here,
times before.
here's the thing, though. What I think they're going to do, I think they're going to close. I think they're going to, however they do Gears, they're going to show the collection and then roll into Gear 6 is my opinion. Because
Yeah, I really think that what they close with this year is I think honestly an extended Fable demo is probably the closer this year.
yeah.
I'd be
So
very surprised if
by
it wasn't.
closer, do you mean like a
The
Starfield
final.
style closer or like a
No, I think the Starfield thing was a one-time thing. You can't do that every year. I'm saying like where we got the console announcement last year is where you would put this.
yeah, okay.
The one more thing.
Yeah.
Because like
Yeah, the
we have
console
so much
announcement. I
stuff
forgot.
announced. Like we have so much stuff announced that we just need to see games in action now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where I am. Like if they just came out this year and it was just updates on things we already know about, I'd be perfectly happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, yeah, they're gonna have some other things to announce. Like, I'm pretty certain that if they have the Persona 6 announcement, Persona 6 will be towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
They might show up on
it'll
the
either be
Sega retro game revival too. They might show those games off. Some of them.
yeah. I'm curious to know if there was anything that was going to show up there. It would be Jet Set,
Mm-hmm.
and I could see Crazy Taxi being there too.
Yeah, those were the two I was thinking.
Those are the two with the history.
Yeah. Crazy Taxi 3 High Rollers. Xbox exclusive.
The other thing so surprisingly, the other one I could see is if they do in fact have a new Virtua Fighter in development.
Mm, yeah.
I could see Virtua Fighter showing up there. The other, but at the same time, like, why show Virtua Fighter when you can just show fucking Killer Instinct?
Yeah. Killer Instinct 2, right? I mean, that's
Right.
been rumored
And I
forever.
mean the anniversary. Well, yeah, it's been rumored for a couple of years now. The Bandai
Hmm.
Namco collab.
Hmm.
There's a lot of stuff you can do there. I think this is going to be a fun show to talk about over the next few weeks, like as we kind of lead up and find out more about it.
Yeah.
Um,
It's only like
I
six
thought it was
weeks
kind of
away.
telling that they gave us the date so far in advance.
Yeah. I mean, that's good though. I
What
mean, gives us something to look forward to.
Well, because we know that we're going to get a PlayStation Presents in May.
Hmm.
So I, pretty looking forward to that. Like they're going to want that to happen in the couple weeks before the final shape comes out.
Hmm.
So they have one more event to promote that at. Like this is classic Sony at this point. They're
Yeah.
going to want one more event that they can show off a trailer for that. Um, and then I mean we got to see what they have planned for the rest of the year. So
Yeah.
I'm expecting a little bit of a lighter show from them this year, but like I mean, Xbox, it's kind of like do or die at this point. Like you got to blow the doors off this year, and it's got to be like gameplay, gameplay, gameplay. Like we got to see South of Midnight in action. We need to see. I don't know how much more Indiana Jones we need to see. We saw a lot of it at the developer direct. Like if you just came out
Yeah.
and gave me a date and showed me a little bit more gameplay, I'd be perfectly happy.
Yeah. Just show a new trailer and
Avowed is the one I think still needs more gameplay.
oh yeah, Val needs some.
And that's not like I mean you watch that like I'm hyped for it. It's hands down my most anticipated game of the second half of the year. Like, it's not even a question at this point. But it looks like a typical Obsidian game. Obsidian focuses more on the storytelling and the experience rather than like the combat. And in a game like Avowed, yeah, that's not super surprising. That's kind of how Pillars handled it too. I find myself hoping that they show like a little bit of the companion system. They show a little bit more, maybe a different area of the island. Like show us in a town bazaar or something.
Hmm.
Um, doing an actual story quest, something like that. Like that's a prime candidate I feel for the showcase extended. Like that's one that I think that you're going to get the trailer during the showcase, and then they're going to be like, "Hey, we just showed you like 3 or 4 minutes of Avowed. We're going to show you 10 more minutes of gameplay on Tuesday afternoon."
Hmm.
That is for me. That is the perfect scenario for that game. That game needs more, and it's because it's Obsidian's first like AAA release under the Microsoft banner.
Yeah.
So we need to see that, and I'm also slightly impatient because I really, really, really want to see Outer Worlds 2, and I know we can't see that until Avowed comes out.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
what would you do if they just walked out there and Obsidian was like, "Yeah, we have our next game to announce too, by the way," and it was just the Fallout logo?
I mean, New Vegas was the only Fallout game that I finished, so I really liked.
It's the only one I haven't finished.
Oh, it's the it was the first one I played and the only one I finished. So I would be fine. I'd be cool with it. Who cares? I mean, we need Fallout, right? I mean, Fallout is arguably more popular than it's been in a long time, right?
Oh,
You know,
I don't even think it's arguable.
yeah. Well, I mean, you know what I mean. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
it's at a high point right now, and I think they should probably try to capitalize on that at some point.
it's the highest point in a decade.
Hmm. And they own that entire. I mean, even if you had an Exile working on it or something too, like a collaboration between Obsidian and Exile or something.
Yeah, and I mean, like I've pitched for a while that Microsoft really needs to establish, because one of the things that's really pissed off Phil over the years, and clearly it's starting to annoy Todd, is how long it takes Bethesda to make fucking games.
Hmm.
And the general sentiment after this show has done so good is we don't want to wait till 2030 for a new game. I would really love for them to come out and be like, hey, we've established a new studio that's dedicated to just overseeing the Fallout franchise for the foreseeable future.
Hmm.
Call it the Wasteland. You could even call it Vault Tech. Like it's right there, Vault Tech.
Hmm.
And or call it the Vault, Vault X or something. I don't know. Like come up with some cool name for it and be like, here we go.
Yeah.
And oh, we've pulled in veterans of the franchise from from every phase of its creation. So we've pulled in a team from Obsidian, which the 76 team is just kind of chilling in Austin right now. Bring them in. There you go. There's the core of your gameplay team.
Yeah.
We're bringing in some of the storytellers and shepherds of the franchise from Obsidian and In Exile, and like it's gonna be this great collaborative effort between all of our studios.
Yeah. Why
Like
not?
there is a way to do it. You can
Make it.
even like even the outside studio that's working on 76 content still, like bring them in to help if you need.
Yeah. Why not? Do it. Do it.
What? Yeah. Why? Like literally, like why? Like what is stopping you at this point? I understand. Like if you
Uh,
do that, like you're green lighting another expensive RPG that's going to take years and years and years to finish. But
yeah, but at least you have
the
a team
hope
that's
would be that we
dedicated.
get it before the end of the generation.
Right. And you have a team that's dedicated who knows the universe, who knows, it obviously clearly can work with Bethesda on like the lore and whatever story they're telling, right? Like
Yeah.
within that universe. So I don't know. I don't see a
I
problem
got.
with it.
I gotta think that they. I gotta think that they've at least got the story in place.
Yeah.
I have to think that they do.
I also think now that Starfield is kind of established and Todd Howard has two kind of IP to keep him busy, plus Indiana Jones. Well, Indiana Jones is almost done, I guess, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
don't, in Fallout wasn't theirs initially anyway, right? Like, I think if he was to give up anything, that would be the one he would like, quote unquote, give the reins to somebody else, right? So,
Yeah. I think especially after what he was forced to do with 76.
yeah.
And like you could tell from the beginning, like his heart just wasn't in that game when they announced it.
Yeah.
Um, I would really really like to see them hand it off to somebody else. Like, I mean, Josh Sawyer was just saying the other day how he wasn't talking about Fallout in particular. He was talking about Pentiment and like how that was kind of the perfect game he needed to reset himself for. And he was still like, I don't know if I want to handle another like big game. Like I may just want to make small experiences from now on, like passion projects. And hey, Microsoft's going to keep paying for him. Let him do whatever he wants to do, right?
Hmm.
You want guys like him and Tim Schafer just making whatever they want to make. Like you want those auteurs working for you. But at the same time, like if he came to you and was like, or if they came to him and were like, hey, would you want control of the next Fallout game? I think he'd find it pretty hard to say no. Like he is behind. He's the guy behind New Vegas.
Hmm.
So like he was the director. That was the first game he was a director on. He was the lead writer, and it's the most arguably the most beloved Fallout game.
Yeah.
So if there was anybody to shepherd that franchise into the next era, like him, and then he could put like one of his proteges as like the assistant director and hand off the franchise afterwards and go back to making small games.
Right.
Just be like, hey, we want you to establish this and establish the team and this and that with like your principles and how you work and this and that.
Right.
So
Well, Josh, I'm excited to see what is cooking over there, but we're going to move on. Tell me where you've heard this before, Josh. Another week, another round of layoffs, this time again at Ascendant Studios, the developer behind Immortals of Avium, the magic based first person shooter from, EA original. It was okay. I played quite a bit of it, but I didn't finish it.
it's fine.
It's okay. And by the way, it's free on PlayStation Plus right now if you have that. So
It's a good game from everything that I've seen. Like it's a good first game. The problem is EA's the publisher,
yeah, there
and
was
so
no
like it
advertisement,
didn't do bonkers numbers, and
and they
so
put it out in a
the
fall
revenue
that
share.
was massively busy.
I mean, they moved the release date back and released it the week before Armored Core, Baldur's Gate, and Starfield.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, this game got run completely over. And I think it's less about like, oh, that the game was like kind of mid. Also, it's like it was like a 7 out of 10 that came out in a year with so many like best of the generation titles.
right,
Or like these incredible single player experiences that like folks are like, oh, I don't want to play a 7 out of 10, like I don't want to spend $70 on that.
right.
And like, okay, well, you voted with your wallet, like I'm not going to be mad at you about that. It just is what it is. It's a shame that that's happening to this studio so quickly though.
Hmm.
um they weren't the only one. There was another one earlier this week. I forget the name of the studio, but the former assistant or the former co-founder of Inex or of Undead Labs was the head of it, and oh boy, that was a whole saga. Jeff Strain, he was like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, because you guys talked to Kotaku about this, like fuck y'all," basically.
Yeah. Uh,
Like Possibility Space, that's the one I was thinking of. Possibility Space. They just like randomly announced, like, "Oh, by the way, everybody's laid off, effective immediately."
yeah, I saw
Like
that.
we're closing. Instead of answering questions to the press, we're just firing everybody.
Yeah. We talked about Certain Affinity on the last episode too, right?
We talked about Certain Affinity on the last episode. Yeah.
Man, that was sad too.
This I mean, god, you if you haven't seen this email, I encourage everybody to look this up because it's so unhinged, and it specifically calls out a Kotaku reporter by name, like as the reason that they're closing the studio.
Jeez.
It's like, okay, so like you're not shutting down over like a Jason Schreier piece, you're shutting down over Kotaku.
Right.
It's just it was Ethan Gatch was reporting about Prytania Media and the closure of Crop Circle Games, which is another studio they own that they shut down about a month ago. And now they're shuttering this studio, laying everybody off. Austin Walker works at that studio or worked at that studio on like as the narrative director, I think. And he's
Mhm.
like, yeah, I spent like 3 years working on the story for this game, and now it's canned before we can ever show it to the public.
Right.
Great, wonderful. There was somebody who got hired like literally like a week or two ago, hadn't even been able to post that they had been hired at the studio and found out they were laid off.
Jeez.
I was like, what the absolute fuck?
I mean, that sounds like what that sounds. It sounds like when people moved across the country to work at Bungie, and then like a month later they found out they were laid off. Remember all that?
I do remember that.
Man.
Yeah, this dude is just totally unhinged. He was like, yeah, I flew across the country to meet with our publisher, and our publisher was so mad they canceled our agreement, so I'm closing the studio immediately. It's like, oh my god, it's like, just fuck you, dude.
Right.
Uh, and it like this comes a couple years after Kotaku broke the story about Undead Labs having really bad work culture under Jeff Strain. So,
Right.
like, oh, okay, well, this makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just God. Another week, more layoffs, more of those mid-range studios
Right.
getting closed down.
Right. Right. Ah, man. Good times. And by good times I mean bad times.
But horrible times.
I hope everybody man, I feel like we say this every week, but I mean,
Lands on their feet.
yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. All right, Josh. We already got one Prince of Persia game this year. There's a lot of Prince of Persia talk this year. The Rogue Prince of Persia is entering early access in May from Motion Twin. Now, if you don't know who Motion Twin is, they are the developers behind Dead Cells. And this seems like the perfect match. So,
Yeah, I'm a really big fan of this. I love Dead Cells.
yeah,
This is cool, man. Motion Twin has some good stuff in the works. I'm very excited for this. They're also, I think, making an animated series with Netflix based on Dead Cells.
yeah, I saw that.
I we were talking about adaptations earlier, and it's made me remember. But yeah, no, Dead Cells was like the surprise hit of the year when it came out, and I've been looking forward to Motion Twins follow up, which we saw at the Game Awards, I believe, last year.
Yeah,
Um, and now, oh, here's something else for you guys. Like Rogue Prince of Persia excites me infinitely more. I really want to see this, but we have like 3 different Prince of Persia universes floating around now at
mhm,
this time.
yeah. I mean, you have the one that
So
came out, and then that story came out. I didn't put it in the news because I didn't feel like it was worth putting in the news. But they also have the remake that they said forget everything you saw. You know, the last time we showed it. I was like, oh,
The
okay.
remake that was like 3 months away from coming out too
Yeah.
when we last saw it.
Yeah.
And it has been incognito for like 4 years now.
Yeah.
That's not even a joke. Seriously, the last time we saw that, uh, we were still doing the oh my god, what was the old Xbox show that you did
Arsenal
called?
X.
We were still doing Arsenal X. I was living in Austin at the time.
Yeah.
This was 4 years ago this summer that we saw this game.
Yeah. And when they showed it, we thought it was the Switch version. And it was the Xbox
Yeah,
Series
we're like, oh my
version.
god, this looks terrible.
Yeah.
This looks like an Xbox One game.
It looked like an Xbox 360 game.
It was bad. It was really bad. So them saying forget everything you know, okay, great, cool. If you're gonna go ahead and remake Sands of Time, can you just like put in an order for Warrior Within and Two Thrones while you're at it?
Right.
Because to me, like, yes, Sands of Time is good. Warrior Within is a perfect game though. Like
Yeah.
that's when I think of Prince of Persia, I think of Warrior Within.
Yeah. People hate that one, by the way.
I don't fucking care.
I love
I
Warrior
don't
Within.
care. Warrior Within was fucking great, dude.
I love Warrior Within. It's probably my favorite of that entire trilogy, but
Yep.
people hate that game for some reason. So
I don't understand that.
I don't either. I loved it, and I'm glad you got the cool outfit in the new one. You got the Warriors outfit in the new one.
It's such a good game.
Oh,
I don't care what anybody says. It's such a good game.
yeah, one of the games that's not backwards compatible, by the way, though.
Yeah, it really really pisses me off because all I've wanted to do is go back and play it. Like I'm dangerously close to just sailing the seven seas for it, if you know what I mean.
Jesus Christ. But yeah, this looks
Listen,
cool.
make your games easier for me to play, and I won't do it. I would love to give Ubisoft $10 for this game right now. Like,
Yeah,
I would love to be able to just log on to the game store of my choice and pay $10 for this.
yeah. Remember when the PS3 got that really nice Prince of Persia trilogy collection on one disc?
I do.
Hmm.
Because I was
Where's
dating a
that?
girl in high school who got it, and it was awesome.
Yeah, where's that? Where's that collection for us, Josh?
I don't know, but she probably has it in storage. If I was really nice, I could probably get it from her.
Be nice. Get it.
I would just need to buy a PS2 in order to play it.
Oh man.
Yeah, no, that one of gaming's most underappreciated trilogies, I think.
Yeah. No.
And it's largely because it's so hard to find these games.
Yeah. I especially the Xbox versions.
It should not be this difficult to find these games. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. Oddly enough, the GameCube versions are really easy to find. At least they were when I was looking for them. Like a year
It
ago.
should not be this hard to find these games. I still really love them. I think all three of them are great games. The whole thing with the Dark Prince is great.
Hmm.
Big fan.
Yeah, it's awesome. Play those games if you can find them, everybody.
Yeah, if you can find those. Also, pretty underappreciated, the Wii continuation of it, the Forgotten Sands.
Yeah.
I actually really like that one.
It's on 360 also.
Is it on three?
Yeah, I
Okay,
played it on 360.
I okay, so I don't know why I was thinking it was the Wii. It's not the
It's
Wii one. There is a Wii
it's
version, I think.
there's a Wii version of the Forgotten Sands, and there's also a Wii version of the Two Thrones, which is called something different.
That's the one I think I'm thinking of.
Okay, because the Forgotten Sands was the one that takes place between Sands of Time and Warrior Within that came out the same day as the
Yes.
movie.
Yes.
Which
Yes.
it was pretty good too. I really liked that game, but everybody was obsessed with Assassin's Creed and hated Prince of Persia because the movie came out. So,
Well, it was them going back. So they had to reverse the course and go back and put that out because for some reason folks didn't like the reboot, which was awesome, by the way.
yeah, I don't think I played the reboot
The
actually.
reboot was really so. The reboot is the last one I remember playing, or I did play Forgotten Sands, but this one was on. This is the only one I remember playing on 360. Is the reboot. The problem with the reboot is everybody was so fresh in their mind about the Sands trilogy that it was like,
Yeah.
oh, and then they just like put the franchise on ice for whatever stupid reason,
Hmm.
and then come out and surprise Pikachu face The reboot is good. Lost Crown is one of the best games of the year so far.
Yeah. So
Imagine that.
okay, so I'm looking this up. The Wii version of Two Thrones is called Rival Swords, and it actually has expanded gameplay and new levels. You can also play it on PSP, according to this.
Interesting. I don't remember any of this.
I knew the Wii version had a different name. I just didn't remember what it was called. It was going to bother me if I didn't look it up, so I had to, you know, this brain of mine, man. I got to tell you, it's broken.
That's fair. That's fair.
Oh man. All right. Anything else you want to say about Prince of Persia, Josh?
No, Prince of Persia's great. Go play the trilogy if you can find it.
Yeah. Okay, we have a couple smaller stories here. Um, so we will definitely probably cover this on Tower Casuals this week, but some rumors of Destiny 3 have reignited with a project called Codename Payback. So which I talked to with a couple of people this week already, and they seem to think it's real. But I don't know what you think, Josh. I mean, I'm sure we'll talk about it on Tower Casuals at some point.
Um, I'm pretty dubious on this. I don't know if this is actually real or not. The person that leaked, I'm saying that in quotations,
Hmm.
this correctly called everything about Onslaught and Into the Light like 6 weeks before the reveal.
Hmm.
Um, I I am choosing to take this not necessarily at face value. I'm going to take this with a massive grain of salt because this person claimed that they were told this information by people who no longer work at Bungie. Oh, excuse me, it was not Into the Light. It was the Prismatic stuff. They correctly talked about Prismatic.
Yeah, they called it Prism. It was like a Reddit thread.
Yeah. So I'm inclined to be like, okay, listen, that was like one of the most popular fan theories for a long time that we were going to be able to do that. It's lore accurate Guardians. Okay, anybody could get lucky doing that and
Yeah.
just taking a stab in the dark. I feel like this is somebody trying to like get more clout than anything.
Hmm.
Um, but it is worth noting that they said this stuff a little ways back. Like this was not something they just dropped the other day.
Right.
And nobody paid any attention to it. So I'm kind of torn because I think a Destiny 3 is sorely needed because they've clearly said we're not going to abandon Destiny 2. Whatever. If you want to do like 2 years of episodes or something and do like maybe like a Rise of Iron style small expansion next
Hmm.
year or something to like kind of bridge the gap, then I think that all of us would be like, okay, fine, whatever, as long as you like come out and tell us what the plan is for the future of the franchise.
Hmm.
It very much feels like we are in a holding pattern to find out what's going to happen until later this year. Like Luke Smith said in the Final Shape event. Shout out Luke Smith. Haven't seen that dude in like 4 years.
Yeah,
They released him from the Destiny content vault.
looks like he's lost weight. I think they're keeping him.
He was no longer wearing the black hoodie, which is how I knew it was a serious conversation.
Yeah.
He said that we will find out more about the future of Destiny after the Final Shape launches. To me, that screams 10th anniversary stream.
Hmm.
I am circling the second Tuesday in September right now
Hmm.
um, for what it's going to be because originally the game launched. I actually believe that it launched on September 9th or September 10th originally. So if it did, then we're lining up perfectly
Yeah.
um, with it there. I'm curious to see that. That's got to be where they're going to announce if they have a game to announce. They announce it there, or they're just like, oh yeah, we're not super ready to talk about it yet. And I think that announcing Destiny 3 too early would cause an Overwatch 2 style reaction.
Yeah.
Folks are gonna be like, oh well, I'm gonna stop playing now, and like, don't make the promise 2 years out or something that all your shit's gonna transfer over.
Yeah.
You're
Although
kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't.
although I've heard of I feel like the reception for Destiny 3 would be much more welcomed from players than Overwatch 2 was. I feel like if you did one more expansion that was kind of set up as a prologue to whatever Destiny 3 is going to be, right? Like you said, like a Rise of Iron sized expansion. I don't know. I feel like that would be okay with people. If it's
You would
as
have to announce it a lot closer to release.
yeah. Yeah, no, I mean,
Because yeah, I'm talking specifically like for a September announcement this year. I
yeah.
don't think you can come out and announce Destiny 3 is coming in 2026 or something. Like
No, yeah,
you
no.
can't announce that because then people are going to be like, "Oh my god, I can't do 2 more years of this gameplay loop." Also, if you're going to release Destiny 3, I'm going to be totally honest, that game has to have like all the content that currently exists in Destiny 2. It's got to have that amount of content.
Mhm.
Like new content in it from the start.
Yeah.
You cannot launch this game with one raid. There
Mhm.
is no way. And I mean, you're gonna have to leave the Destiny 2 stuff is gonna need to be brought forward. Like just straight up. Everything you have in Destiny 2, all your cosmetics, everything have to come forward. There is no other option. There are so many things they would have to do here that I personally find it really hard to believe that they're gonna do a Destiny 3. I still seriously think they're just gonna drop the two. And just continue putting out expansions a la World of Warcraft. Um, but that's the whole thing is like you can't just keep optimizing like they do with World of Warcraft. Like yeah, they've never done a huge like graphical overhaul to it, but it's on PC. They can just keep changing the requirements for it. Like you can't do that on console.
Mhm.
It's a lot harder to do that on consoles. Like if this was a PC only game, like oh yeah, I don't think any of us would have any problem with them continuing to call it Destiny 2.
Yeah.
Um, so there are those questions to answer. They've pretty much milked D1 of all content at this point, outside of strikes and like the actual story missions.
Yeah.
If you could bring that stuff to like PC, I think that would be a really cool announcement. I just I find it so hard to believe that this is the other project that's in development at Bungie right now. That like, oh, okay, like so Jason Schreier and them didn't report on this when they had all the internal stuff coming out. Like that's the big red flag for me. Like you're gonna tell me that none of the people that went on record to Jason Schreier or Rebecca Valentine over the last like 6 years about internal turmoil at Bungie or projects at Bungie never once mentioned Destiny 3 being in production.
Right.
You're going to tell me nobody ever mentioned that. Like their premium moneymaker
Right.
is getting a sequel. You're going to tell me nobody ever brought that up to these guys.
Right.
That's the red flag for me.
Right.
And it's like, okay, I think we're all kind of in the pattern of, well, let's see how Marathon does. Let's get Marathon out the door. If this is a Destiny 3, though, that is going to be dictated by the creatives at Bungie and not like Pete Parsons and Jason Jones, then I think you're okay.
Mhm.
Like, if we're able to get the same amount of love and care that has clearly been put into the light and that seemingly is being put into the final shape, then great. Like every single expansion should have us hoping for that Witch Queen quality.
Mhm.
That should be the goal. That is the standard. That is not just the gold standard. That's the standard.
Yeah.
Like that is the minimum we should be accepting in these expansions. And like you got to nail down episodic content before you decide if you're going to do Destiny 3. That's my 2 cents personally.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, who knows? I mean, they said beyond Destiny and like after I don't know. It could be in TV, it could be in comic books, could mean whatever. There's a
I
new
hope
art.
it's ever. I hope it's a whole multimedia assault. Frankly, I hope that's where we get the long term plan for episodes, for bringing forward Destiny 1 story content and strikes, possibly maybe bringing back stuff from the content vault. I would love to hear that they've got an anime in the works. I would love to hear that maybe there's a novel in the works. Maybe there is from the lore team. Maybe there are um maybe there's I would even do like an audio drama, like they did for the Hunt the Truth for Halo was fantastic.
Yeah. A new art book
You
went
know,
up for pre-order on Amazon
new
today.
art book went up for pre-order. It doesn't ship until this fall, which makes me think there's a whole lot of spoilers in it.
Oh yeah. They only
Um,
showed the cover and it's just the traveler with the pink
it's
triangle in the
just
middle.
it's just travel-y.
Yeah. Yep.
I
It's 268 pages of just inside the traveler.
I'm pretty excited though. The excitement is back for Destiny in a way it hasn't been. Obviously, we'll talk more about all this on Tower Casuals.
Yeah.
But for right now, I don't think that it's in development.
Yeah.
I'm going to be just brutally honest. I don't think that it is. I'd love to be proven wrong, but I just don't think it is. And I think part of that also is me being like, "Oh God, please don't do another one of these." I don't want to lose another 10 years of my life.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder. Yeah. We'll see. We'll definitely learn more probably after the final shape. But
Yeah.
you know what else we did learn about, Josh?
What did we learn about?
Contra DLC for Vampire Survivors and Remnant
That
2
was
getting
not on my bingo card.
and Remnant
I
2
never would have
DLC.
guessed this in a million years.
Oh, come on, man. You don't see the connection between Vampire Survivors and Contra?
No, I never would have guessed this.
Oh man. Remnant 2 is also getting DLC. What, April 19th or something, called The Forgotten Kingdom. Which looks cool. Remnant was fun. I played a little bit of it. It was really fun. I just didn't want to play it by myself, and I have no friends, so I don't really have anything else to say about that. But it was,
I don't either.
I know people really love Vampire Survivors, and I did for about a week and a half. So, but I think that's it. We have one question we didn't answer. It is a crossover question, Josh,
Oh my god.
but it's not on Tower Casuals. So you did not specify on this show that they weren't allowed to have crossovers. Uh, Emerald Jack.
Emerald Jack asks, "Do you think there will be a Fallout crossover with Destiny?" No.
No, but it would be kind of neat, I think.
I'm going to be really honest. I'm saying no, partially because this is a Microsoft franchise now.
Hmm. Yeah.
I think that makes it a little bit tricky. Like we said it time and time again. The Halo stuff was very much a one-time deal.
Mm,
And that was before they were owned by Sony. I think Sony owning them makes it a little bit more complicated
yeah.
because then Sony's not pocketing all the money off of it. Microsoft needs their due off of it.
Hmm.
So I think that is a more complicated proposition than it may appear.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm going to go with no, but if it happened, I wouldn't be upset.
Hmm.
Because I'm going to be totally honest. If you gave me a vertibird as a ship, that would be really cool. Obviously, like everybody wants Brothers of Steel armor. I don't even know how you like do armor for all the classes at that point. I'd have to like really sit down and think about it.
Hmm.
Because I don't want to be dressed as a fucking raider as a hunter and like, oh, Titans are the only ones who get the cool crossover armor yet again.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. Well,
well, Corey,
we did it.
we did it.
We did it again.
Another show in the books.
Yep. How do you feel, Josh?
I exhausted. I'm going to bed after this. I am dehydrated. I have a fever. I'm going to bed.
I mean, that's fair. That's very fair. Well then, Josh, thank you for your time tonight, as always. Where can we find you?
Josh_Finn, 2 N's. I'm still on Twitter. I'm still there.
Still hanging on.
Still hanging on.
Hanging on. You can find me at I am Corey in HD. You can check out this show every Tuesday or every other Tuesday. Tower Casuals every Friday, and join the Discord. Join the Discord. Thank you so much for watching and or listening, everybody. Until next time, we love you. Goodbye.